Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Regular Size Man podcast. And for this episode, I've got a bit of a special one. You might notice that we're in the same clothes as we wore for last week's episode, and it's for a very good reason. Sam has ditched me and he's gone away, so we've just started to pre-record this episode, and it's a special one as well for you guys. We were going to be reviewing Jumanji 2, whatever the
next level.
The next level, that was the line afterwards, and The Gentlemen, which is just The Gentleman. So I don't know which one. We actually didn't figure out which one we want to start off with.
I want to start with Jumanji because I have more to say about The Gentleman. Actually, I probably have a lot more to say about Jumanji, but I'm going to be more negative about Jumanji.
Okay, so am I. And I figured, I think that's good. Let's end on a positive note. So we're going to start off with all the bad shit that happens in Jumanji, which is the movie. Spoiler alert. And yeah, if you guys don't...
Of course.
Look,
there's spoilers here. I just want to put that out there.
If you guys don't already know, there's going to be spoilers in this video, so click away, don't listen to it. Wait, go watch the movie, come back, then listen to it, and then
or just
and then we're sweet.
Listen to us and just, don't see the movie.
Yeah, just take our recommendation. Anyway, do you want to kick us off?
My thing with Jumanji, I won't get to my point straight away,
yes.
But my point with Jumanji is that I found the movie was just very boring. Like, there was just no substance to it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I felt like the movie, it had some good, moments, I guess, and it had some fun moments, but overall, I just found the movie to be quite boring, and I'm sorry to say that, there was, some few good jokes, but overall, I felt like it was just, it just was. There wasn't a lot to it.
No, I think you're right. I did actually have a lot of. I read in my notes that there were a lot of fun quips. I did think there were quite a few decent jokes.
Yeah, I agree. Funny, there was some good jokes,
which you kind of expect. I feel like with a bit of Kevin Hart and Jack Black in there. So that was definitely good. But I do agree with you. I think for me it came down a lot to the two plot lines. So the first one obviously being that Danny DeVito's character, Spencer's grandpa, and Danny Glover's character, the old dude, forgot his name, Milo, their relationship, it was weird. I felt so they come into the movie feuding. We don't really know why, and obviously they start to explain it as the movie goes on. But I felt like it was very forced isn't the word, but it just felt very unnecessary because I was like, as I'm watching it, I'm like, why? I don't really understand this. You know what I mean? I get that they're feuding, but it makes... We've never seen these characters before. They've never been mentioned. Nothing to do with their relationship as it stands now has ever been mentioned before. So I felt like it was just kind of shoehorned in to be like, yep, we've got two different characters in this movie now.
Right,
So I didn't like that. And I also didn't like the love plot between Spencer and whatever her name is. Don't know her name, but Karen Gillan plays her.
Yeah.
We'll refer to the character's name, Ruby Roundhouse, and no, let's not do that because they changed. Okay. Spencer's. Let's get the character name.
I'm gonna Google it now because now it's gonna bug me.
It's gonna bug me. It's gonna bug me as well.
But my thing, I think just to add on to this, Jesus, where's the cast? And let me get the cast.
Should have typed cast, buddy.
I should have. Not Bethany.
No, Bethany's the hot one.
Okay.
No, it'll be here. Martha.
Oh, yeah,
there we go.
Martha, yes.
Okay, so I didn't like the relationship between Spencer and Martha because I felt like in the first one, while it was definitely there, they didn't go into it a whole heap in the last one. And then to begin this one, you see Spencer kind of struggling because clearly they're going through some kind of trouble with their relationship. But it's like, I didn't think they explored it enough for us to feel any kind of emotional connection or tie to their breakup and their separation.
Yeah, the way I kind of saw it was they ended the movie and it's like, oh yeah, they're gonna get together, and then they didn't show a montage of them to being together. We just kind of left on the fact that they're probably gonna they'll be together and they'll probably just start developing a relationship. And then I was like, they're broken up. Well, that was short lived. Okay.
Plus, it added no emotional gratitude to any of the plot. I felt I did not give a shit.
Yeah, there was no reason for them to be broken up.
I did not care at all. I didn't feel 1 ounce of sadness, and for that reason, I felt like it was very stupid for Spencer to have to find motivation to go back into the game.
Yeah, I understand the whole reasoning behind it. It was kind of Spencer was insecure with his relationship, which is why they were on edge, and then he was insecure about himself, which is why he went back into the game. But I thought that he tackled that tackled that in the first one.
Yeah.
And they did that well.
Yeah.
And then it kind of was why have you, I get people have relapses with their self-confidence, but it's
But I felt like it was very it just seemed silly that he did that all over a girl that he was on a break with, because they weren't broken up, they were on a break.
He did the break,
and he took the break.
break.
And he did mention the fact that he kind of felt like he was a different person when he was playing the Rock's character in the game, and fair enough. But I don't know. To me, it just felt like a very, very loose kind of plot point.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and for me, that kind of let down the whole plot of the movie.
I think for me as well, the movie was more on like grabbing the emotions rather than telling a good story. So like, with the case of Milo and how he, was terminally ill, and they patched that like friendship up. It's like, yeah, sure, this is very sad, but it's like, why?
We don't know you as a character.
We don't know you,
care.
like,
Yeah.
If it was Spencer who was ill or something, then that would be a different story. Like, it'd be a character that we've known for two movies now, and that, like, that's why he's feeling weird, because he's, not well, and he feels like he hasn't accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
That would make a better plot point than some guy that's come out of nowhere and we don't know the history. We've just like the history comes out as the movie goes along, but you don't see it, and it's just like it's not enough for me to not care, because care's like I feel like too harsh. But it's
for
like
me it was care.
Yeah, like it's just like there's nothing here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. In saying that, I did think that the performances, particularly from Kevin Hart and Jack Black, were really good.
Yeah, they did well again. Even The Rock did well.
I liked everyone in it. Everyone did really well as their different characters. I just really, really liked Kevin Hart as Milo and Jack Black as Fridge, and then Bethany again.
Yeah.
I thought they were really good. All the performances were really, really funny, and the way they did them, I thought they did a really, really good job at that. But I just think, I think overall, because the plot was so bad, I really struggled to give a shit about this movie.
Yeah, I think as well, going more to the jokes, I felt like the jokes were wittier in the first one. Yeah. Like, I felt like they recycled a lot of jokes. Mm-hmm. Like, I understood that with Kevin Hart when he was playing Milo, it was funny, the old jokes, but they kind of started to get a bit repetitive, I felt.
Definitely.
And, Kevin Hart nailed the role. I want to say, like, he nailed playing Milo. Yeah. But again, like, the same jokes. Like, none of the other characters, like even The Rock as Danny DeVito's character, like the granddad, didn't really like offer a lot in terms of comedy. It was more about, Milo. And I felt like they were trying to force the likability towards Milo because he's like ill. And which goes back to my point that I felt like the story was more about giving us like an emotional heartthrob than like
which wasn't there as well. Yeah, that was the problem.
They were forcing that rather than like adding a plot.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I want to know what your thoughts were on, because obviously this is supposed to be like a video game. Did you think that there was as I thought there was? Do you think there was an appropriate amount of time spent on having to explain to Milo and Spencer's grandpa what they are and what's going on?
Yeah,
because I thought they actually nailed that.
Yeah,
like I thought they had the exact right amount of time to explain to them what was going on and for them to understand it.
Yeah, I think that whole part of the movie, like inside the game, for the most part, they did a good job.
Yep.
The only part was the Act 3 of the game, which we'll get into in a bit. But like the whole explanation and the whole like scenes, when Spencer's grandpa beats up all those guys because he doesn't really understand why he's there. I thought that was like good.
Well, actually, on that, I could watch The Rock do that all day. Like,
exactly.
It sounds, I don't know why, but I thoroughly enjoyed just watching The Rock just literally smack people with one fist and one punch every time. I really enjoyed that.
Long and short of it, I think that they nailed that whole part of the movie. I think that was the strong point of the movie, which has made it somewhat enjoyable.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. What did you think of Awkwafina's character, the lockpick?
She was good too.
I thought she was really good. Yeah.
I think she offered something new, and like that like offering the new characters also like was exciting. It added a bit more difference to the movie, which was good.
In saying that, with the new character, the whole horse thing towards the end didn't make sense. Why would you have a horse as a playable character?
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. You can't have that in any scenario. So that one it's a small little thing, but I thought it was pretty silly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it wasn't a small thing because that's how the movie ended, essentially.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. But I wasn't really a fan of that one, to be honest with you. What else have I got written down?
Well, I want to talk about the ending.
Yes.
And the villain. See, the villain, I can't even remember his name, to be honest with you. And I don't really care enough to like research who he was. But my problem with this was that they added something really, really good here with The Rock's character, Dr.
Bravestone.
Dr. Bravestone. he finally had a weakness. And it was fantastic. He had Snakebite, and Snakebite was good. And like, you know, he took a life off the Rock, and I'm like, wow, this is great. Like, you know, how is the Rock gonna combat this after the Snakebite kills him and makes his life? And then you don't see him for the rest of the movie.
Yep.
And I'm like, you finally have a good character here who's like gonna make this movie interesting and like combat the most like the invincible character, and you barely use him. And then the guy at the end, the villain, I just did not care for him. It was just like so, like they didn't hype him up at all. They didn't like, you know, with the first one they would have like flashbacks to like show what the you know the other villain's done and what what he's trying to do and how he's turned evil.
Yeah.
With this guy, they just kind of featured him and then brought him in for the, you know, and then it was just a matter of luck where they sneak in, and it's like, oh, where is your sister?
Yeah.
And then that was it. It was just kind of boring.
Well, I've got a rebuttal to that. Well, I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. So I'll start with the snakebite thing. With the snakebite thing, I do agree with you. I think it would have been much better to see snakebite as like a thing that kind of just kept popping up to screw with him every so often. However, I think if you're gonna do that, they needed to take less out of it, because if you had snakebite and kept the rest of the movie that was in there, I think it would have been too much. Because you've got the whole, because I think they had the whole setbacks with, you know, Milo fighting Spencer's grandpa the whole time, which we didn't like, but if you added Snakebite onto that as well, I think it was probably would have been too much.
But if you added him in the ending scene where like they were all fighting inside the castle or whatever it was,
you could have done that.
That's what I wanted to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fair enough. Yeah, I could understand that. As for the main villain, I don't have a problem with the main villain. I think the difference between this one and the first one is that the first one was very much you've got to defeat the bad guy, because that's Jumanji. This one I felt like was, as we've said, they focused more on the relationships of all the characters and the fact that the characters have changed who they're playing. So for me, the villain being who he was and what he didn't bother me as much, because I felt like obviously you need a villain for a video game. That's just a given. But at the same time, I kind of felt like that wasn't the real villain of the movie, if that makes sense, or the real antagonist probably of the movie. Yeah. So for me, that wasn't as much of an issue, but I completely get where you're coming from at the same time.
I think my point was like, you know, the point of them is being in the game, and then the ending for them, like the hardest mission in the game was just over in a matter of seconds, and it was just very linear. I felt. No,
you're right. You're probably they probably should have had to come together at the end and have a real and face a real problem. Because the thing was for me is like, oh, they switched to Spencer's Bravestone again. He saves the day, you know, and he feels good about himself. But I felt like they were rushing to get to that scene where Milo goes off and stays in the game because he's ill. And I felt like they rushed to that when they really didn't need to. Like, you know, the movie, I think it was 2 hours or something. Yeah,
it was like they could have added an extra 10 minutes and made it a more like, you know, epic battle scene to like finish the game, and you know maybe Milo saves the day or something, and then he like goes off and he's happy, you know. And I kind of felt like they neglected the whole Spencer's self-doubt story and then brought it back, but didn't really make a point of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think something else to note as well is the point of these movies is that it's a video game. Like it's so when you think about it, and this might be thinking too much into it, and it might be because we play a lot of video games, but when you think about it, the game has to be beatable no matter what player you pick, because at the end of the day you might be playing it single player. So you can't have the horse, number one. Number two,
you're really shocked about this horse.
I'm not liking the horse. Number two, the fact that you had to have the horse to go and fly up to save Spencer doesn't make much sense, because obviously if it's a game, you would have ended up in that what's the balloon called? It's got a name.
Hot air balloon?
It starts with something.
I don't know.
Whatever. You end up in that balloon. So you might have to fly at some point. You know what I mean? So like all those characters can't do that.
But on the assumption that it is a 4-player game and you can select the horse, what if somebody doesn't select the horse?
Oh, you know, exactly.
We also have that conundrum. But I think we are thinking too much into this.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that's a little bit important, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah.
I think that's like
it does make sense, you know what I mean? But in saying that, they did that to have Milo and Spencer save the day, because they were the ones that were like, you know, Spencer self-doubt, Milo feels like he's done wrong by Spencer's grandpa, so them two save the day together, and it's all happy, kumbaya.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know, and it's not a good point of the movie, but it was
it's a good point that you're making.
Yeah, this is how I've analysed the movie.
Yeah. Something I also had a bit of an issue with is Karen Gillan's character. She played Ruby Roundhouse. I felt like that she was just not used very well at all. Like she's an expert in like martial arts, like. And then you like, I think my biggest issue was the baboon part where they're running across the bridges, and I think she falls down at one point and she looks like she's about to get captured
Mauled
or whatever, mauled, whatever. You're a martial arts expert. Your name's Ruby Roundhouse. Kick the mandrill. Like kick it. Just kick it. You know what I mean? Like I felt like it's like in my opinion, she's not obviously not as strong as the Rocks as Bravestone, but like she's an expert in martial arts, man. Just kick the bloody mandrill. Do you know? Like, does that not? I felt like it was like I just thought that was really silly. Like she can easily defend herself because she's a badass character.
Yeah.
And that also differs from the girl from Martha who plays her. She's not seen as that type of character. So I felt like that was really stupid. Her being like that, to be honest with you.
That's fair.
You've got anything else to say?
Not about Jumanji. I just found that the ending was just a bit anticlimactic for me, and it just kind of rushed. I felt like the ending was rushed, and that was my main point.
No, I think I did write that down as well. Just one last thing, I think. There's obviously going to be a third one.
Yeah,
because
the post-credit scene. Yes.
What do you think? I'm for it.
I'm for it because it's different. You know what I mean? Like I felt like this was just like not a money grabber. I mean, partly a money grabber, but it was just like too similar. Like it was. The first one had a great story, obviously, because it's a unique concept they're in the game. But this one, it just kind of didn't really add anything new for me. And it was just kind of like, you know, I felt it was a bit of a cash grab at times.
I think we both expected some level of repetitancy because...
Yeah, I mean,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think they definitely could have put a lot more time and effort into how they were going about it. You know what I mean? And you could, like, don't get me wrong, there were signs of good in this movie. The fact that they did introduce new characters and and Jack Black was, you know, was Fridge for a while, like different characters.
Yeah,
with different
that was
people.
good.
That was good, and I liked that. And I'm glad that they did change ultimately in the end back to who they were. But do you know what I mean? Like, that's just, I feel like, I don't know. I think they could have had a lot more time and effort into the how they were doing the plot. But yeah, I'm all for the number 3. It's as we just said, it's coming into the world. It's like the original Jumanji, so hopefully it'll be good. Yeah,
I give this movie 6 out of 10 tacos.
I'm gonna have to go with a 5 out of 10 tacos.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just felt it was extremely average.
Yeah,
and I couldn't get past the plot.
Yeah, I'm in the same. I was just being generous.
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right.
Do you want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on to The Gentlemen. So The Gentlemen is a Guy Ritchie's new movie. It does have a great cast of Matthew McConaughey. I forgot the rest. I'll get it up now. But anyway, okay, let's get The Gentlemen. Cool. Jesus. Okay, so The Gentlemen cast. So we have Charlie Hunnam, McConaughey, Henry Golding, Michelle Dockery, Hugh Grant, Colin Farrell, Jeremy Strong. I think that's probably the main ones that we need to...
I think it definitely is.
Yeah, so they're probably the main ones we want to talk about. So basically, the story revolves Google's synopsis description.
Sorry.
Yeah, is that Mickey Pearson is an American expatriate. Yep, patriarchy who became rich by building a marijuana empire in London. When word gets out that he's looking for cash to cash out of his business, it soon triggers an array of plots and schemes for those who want his fortune. And it's directed by Guy Ritchie. And phenomenal movie. I just want to go on the record and say that I really enjoyed this movie more than I thought I would. And I think after you saw it, it grew on you as you reflected on it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd said I really liked it at the end of the movie, but ever since then, it definitely has grown on me. I kind of do want to see it again. I don't know if I'll get around to doing it again, but I probably would like to see it again. Look, straight off the bat, I think all the acting is amazing in this movie.
Yeah, we got to give an acknowledgement to every actor, actress, like anybody in this movie. Phenomenal roles that they played, and they did very well at portraying each of their characters. Yeah, McConaughey especially, and Hugh Grant. I do want to give a shout out to. Hugh Grant was phenomenal.
He's my one standout from everybody else. Not that everyone else was bad, but I think great. He was just awesome. Like to see him as a sleazy reporter that literally just looks out for himself. Like it was awesome. It was. I love that he had a bit of bias in his storytelling. I loved his personality. I love the whole back and forth with him and what's his name? What's Charlie Hunnam's character's name? Wayne. Wayne.
No.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I think it's Wayne.
Okay, we'll just say Charlie Hunnam.
No, it's Raymond.
Ray, yeah.
The back and forth between him and Ray, I thought was just awesome, man. Like I loved all of that. Everything to do with that. Yeah, I what's her name? I can't remember her actual name in the film, but McConaughey's wife I thought was like she grew on me as the movie went. I liked her more and more as the movie went. I thought she was much better as the movie went.
And McConaughey just plays the same character in every movie he does, and he just knocked it out of the park again.
Yeah, where do you want to go for this?
So I want to go to the start. So when we first saw it, I think you and I agreed that it was a little bit slow to start. It was a very original concept. So, without, we're talking about spoilers, so it's fine. The concept, it's pretty much Hugh Grant retelling the story to Ray.
While Ray has also been a part of it. Because the movie opens with McConaughey walking into a bar, going to have a drink, and then someone walking behind him with a gun. And then all it cuts is the beer, and someone's been shot, and they lead you to believe it's McConaughey.
Yeah.
Continue.
Then it goes to the opening credits, and then enters Hugh Grant. I forgot what his character is. The investigator. Hugh Grant's the investigator. Fletcher. Yeah, the investigator, and he's approached Ray. So Ray is like Ray's boss is McConaughey.
Yeah.
And basically, Fletcher is trying to take down McConaughey because of an incident that happened between McConaughey and Fletcher's boss.
Yeah.
Hope you're following. And basically goes back and he's retelling a story part of the way, and then it comes into real time eventually. Mm-hmm. But part of the way he's retelling the story.
I would say most of the way.
Most of the way,
probably like 2/3, 3/4.
Yeah, 2/3, 3/4 is retelling, and then it goes into the present day. I really like that part too. But getting back to it, I think the fact that they had credits at the start of the movie, which doesn't happen much anymore in movies, but
the way they did it too as well.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie is known to do that. Basically, they just show like the credits showing off the cast, directors, and stuff. Like Deadpool did it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But they did the credits, and then it was also a little bit of a hard concept to like get into. You had to do a bit of explaining. Yeah. So I think that kind of slowed the movie down at the start a little bit. However, it did pick up really quickly, and Act 2 and 3 just blew me out of the water. I think it was, what I wanted to like get into was I felt this movie was really creative in the way that it incorporated, the rich posh part of, England, and also like the chavs and the, grime music and stuff, and having Bugsy Malone, a grime artist, feature on it. And it's just such a unique concept. It was just amazing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen the C word used more
honestly.
In any form of media and in those ways. Yeah, they say it a lot.
Yeah, it's very witty.
But the best part is they use it was such an awesome combination of dry humor, like just in your face, obvious jokes, and like complex humor.
Yeah,
it kind of took a second to think about the joke. Like it was just, I'm not going to say it, but like there were just so many insults just to different characters, just one-liners, and it was so funny. But then they had awesome just jokes that took a second to land after that.
Yeah.
It was a great combination. Like I really, really enjoyed that part.
And one of the things I did enjoy as well is I liked that Mickey, Matthew McConaughey, he was not British. Because I liked watching the disparity between the Brits, like Fletcher and Ray, and Mickey, who was just, some, bare knuckle American, badass, essentially, if you want to call it that. And you could see how different they were.
Yeah, but in saying that, because his character went to Oxford for boarding school, so you could also see his influence growing up in those particular development years of living in Britain.
Yeah,
as well.
But so he didn't become full British.
Exactly, but it was an awesome combination. Like he knew the ins and outs of, let's say, the underworld of Britain. I reckon. And he knew how to associate and get along and not get along with these people whilst still maintaining that American kind of way. Yeah. So I did like that part too, yeah.
I think, it was a very unique concept. And the way that they thought about how he could become a drug lord and how, he was selling it, and just all the factors that were involved, and, rival gangs and how they were getting involved. And it was just all like crazy and just unique. That's like one of the things about this movie is you wouldn't expect it to work, but it did.
Yeah, I think, look, for me, one thing that did let it down, I think that the plot was a tad predictable. Once you start to realize what I think, because the first act, as you said, gets very slow, but then it picks up for 2 and 3. You start to realize what the story is, and that, it's just people betraying people, and there's a secret agenda behind the whole thing. And I've picked that up very quickly. So I think I picked up very quickly that I don't know the character's name, but who McConaughey was going to sell the business
the buyer. Yeah,
the buyer. I picked up very quickly that someone I don't know, I didn't know who, but someone that was working for him exposed McConaughey's weed site.
Yeah.
So like I did find that a tad predictable in the fact that I knew that was going to be happening straight away. And, like it didn't let it down that much at all.
Yeah.
But
no, I knew that he was going to betray him.
Yeah. It was a good. No, it wasn't a good feature, but I did. Yeah. I don't know. I liked it still.
Yeah. I thought it was a great movie. And one of the things I was going to mention, but I kind of forgot now. Oh, Jesus, what I was going to say.
We'll find it.
It was to do with one of the things I was like, it kept me on my toes a bit is, you know how he had the like Hugh Grant's Fletcher when he was retelling the story to Ray. A lot of the time you couldn't tell whether it was like he was making it up or like he'll make a joke and then Ray will be like, "Shut the fuck up," you know what actually happened.
Yeah.
And when McConaughey shot the young Asian Henry
Golding's character.
Yeah, Henry Golding's
Dry Eye.
When he shot Dry Eye. For a second, I couldn't tell if that was real life or that was Fletcher's imagination.
Yeah,
because it happened. And, you know, even a little bit after that, it kept me on my toes to like, I didn't know. It took me a while until I saw the body in the container. I was like, I don't know if he's dead. I don't know what actually happened.
I agree with you. I kind of didn't expect Dry Eye to die. I thought he would actually make it out of it. But yeah,
I didn't expect him to do what he was going to do.
No.
To Michelle Williams' character.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the part of Hugh Grant's.
Yeah, that was. I think that was the part that was made up.
Yeah, so Fletcher made up the part where Dry Eye has sex with McConaughey's wife because that's just the kind of character he was.
Yeah.
But again, but because of that, you were kept on your toes for the rest of the story, wondering what's happening.
It's just very clever, I think. Yeah, you could say, because it's not really. It's it's just different concept.
Yeah. So speaking on Charlie Hunnam's character Ray. I thought he was by far the best when he wasn't with McConaughey's character or Fletcher.
Yeah.
When he was by himself, particularly when he went to find Laura, the daughter. I thought he was hilarious.
Yeah.
Just all of the insults. The fact that he was just kind of like this tough guy that was like, I'm gonna take care of this shit. Just how funny he is. I love when he chases down that kid to get the phone and then he just brings out his gun and they just like fuck shit off themselves. Like it was just stuff like that I was like, he was actually perfect for that role.
Yeah.
Like he was hilarious but he was still menacing and he was awesome throughout the whole thing. What did you think of Colin Farrell's character in that kind of tie-in? So Colin Farrell plays a boxing instructor at a gym for all these kids that kind of have lost their way. And those kids actually get hired by the buyer of McConaughey's business to expose him.
He was funny. I like the scene where he's in the restaurant and the kids like attack him or like try to attack him and he's like, "You're an idiot." Yeah. Like, that was funny and it was a good introduction to the character.
Yeah.
But I think he did very well.
I think so
as well.
too.
Like, again, this acting in this movie was on point. I think it was one of the strongest suits of this movie.
Yeah.
Was the performances by everyone.
Yeah.
And I felt like Colin Farrell had the he had the personality or like the wit in the movie for him.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of these castings were very on the nose.
Yeah.
Like, and very on point.
So Miramax, great job on these castings. But I think he was witty enough and I can kind of see how that could transfer over to his Penguin role in Batman.
For sure, yeah.
And
then Guy Ritchie as well. It's an incredible story and the different layers and the way the story's told. So he obviously deserves some credit for that.
Yeah, good job, Guy Ritchie.
And then, so the ending is kind of that of like ultimately.
I was about to say, I wanted to mention the ending.
So ultimately, Fletcher kind of tells this story and steals this story essentially to sell it off to a movie company, and it's revealed that it's Miramax. So it's kind of like breaking the fourth wall kind of joke, because Miramax do produce the movie, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
I like that a lot.
I think it really topped off the kind of comedy in this movie.
Yeah,
especially when he gets in the taxi. And it's Ray, and it just kind of tops it all off.
Yeah, and as you said, so Ray's in the taxi and ends up driving Fletcher out of Miramax, and Ray is pissed off because of how the movie ultimately ends. And I think it leaves the door open for a sequel.
Yeah,
I am very glad it. You know how a lot of movies I feel like these days are made to set up a sequel.
Yeah, this did not
feel like that at all.
Because the way it ended is they captured him, and then it was just like, yeah. Mickey, we got him, and then it looks like him and his wife are going to do it, and then it ends.
Yeah.
So it doesn't open the door to a sequel, but it can show one if you want.
For sure. I honestly, so with the sequel, I'm not going to speculate as to what it's going to be. I've got no idea. Couldn't guess at all. But I would love to see another massive big name actor be brought in, and I think DiCaprio would be awesome for it.
Oh yes, that's actually. Yeah, I think he suits this kind of
Yeah.
Even Daniel Craig, if you want to like, depends on what role you'd play.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's kind of got that.
Well, okay, I would say no to Daniel Craig only because I feel like these characters, so Ray, Mickey, Fletcher, all of them really, they have a certain childish nature to them, and I think DiCaprio could play that very well.
I was also going to go Kevin Spacey, but he won't get cast for a movie anymore.
No way, no, not for a while.
No, he won't get cast at all. But like his personality,
yeah,
I think
100%,
he's got that dry humor to be in this type of movie.
Yeah, but I would like, I feel like it's probably Destiny. There's going to be another, if they do a sequel, there's going to be another massive name brought into this. Maybe even Ben Affleck. But who knows, man? Like, I love the movie. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, it was one of those that, like, once I thought about it more, I,
appreciated
it
more.
more. And I'd love to go see it again. I think it's one of those movies that, would, be rewatchable. Especially because I feel like there'd be a few underlying, like, things that, like, you wouldn't have noticed the first time or a joke that you missed out on.
Yeah,
I think it's got a lot of, like, rewatch value, which is really good.
I definitely think so. Like, I could happily watch it again right now.
Yeah, and overall, I think it was a great start to the year.
Oh, definitely. I'm very glad. Was that our first movie of the year?
First movie of the year.
I'm glad that was it. I'm really glad that was it. So look, we've only got down to go from here. So what do you?
It's only
give
down
it?
from here, you mean?
Is it?
It's only down.
It's only
from
down.
here?
Yeah, it's only down from. That's what I was meant to say. So what are you going to give it out of 10?
I give it an 8.5.
I think I'm going to agree with you. It didn't blow me away,
but it was a great movie.
to watch. Yeah, it was not a movie that I'm like, holy shit. But yeah, it was definitely a movie that was like,
it's like,
I'm happily going to watch this again. I really enjoyed this. Everything's great about it. But
I think the way I judge movies is like, it's like, if I was to sit someone down, how confident would I be that they like this movie? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the way, like, with Jumanji, it was kind of like, I don't know if someone will like this. With Gentlemen, I'm fairly certain that, they will enjoy this movie.
Yeah. Okay. I just coming back to Jumanji because you said that, it actually just quickly popped into my head. I want to say, I know it's a kids movie. All right. I know it's not for necessarily 20-year-olds. I understand that, but it's still a movie.
But they swear in it.
Yeah, they swear in it. There's some adult jokes. I think at the end of the day, it's still a movie, and it's not for like a kid. It's for like a 13-year-old. All right.
Yeah.
So it's still a movie. So I'm gonna look. Don't attack me because I'm like, oh, all this stuff because it's a kids movie. Just it's a movie, all right?
Yeah.
Cut me some slack. But
Been cut.
But yeah. But anyway, I'll give it 8.5 tacos for the Gentlemen as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
very nice, Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Jumanji, you did all right. You did okay.
Mm-hmm.
We can work on it. Jumanji 3 is going to be good.
We're hoping.
Fingers are crossed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for the episode this week.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think of the reviews within. I mean, we did this because I'm going away, so I apologise.
Yeah.
But we also just wanted to see. We're hoping no big news drops over the next week.
We're really hoping, but honestly, knowing our luck, something big. Something about the Batman. You watch. I'm calling it right here, right now. Okay. It's already happened.
Today's the 7th.
Yeah. Today's the 7th. It's already happened. If I'm right, but I'm calling it now. Something big from the Batman's going to drop. Probably the suit. I think the suit will come out. You watch. The suit will come out, and I'll post on Instagram about it, and Sam won't even be anywhere near me. So,
apologies.
Awesome.
All right, that is it for the podcast. Thank you for listening. If you want to check us out on our social medias, it's at TRSM Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube.
I reckon you got everything there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm all over it.
Awesome.
I've been Sam. This has been Jacob. We've been the Regular Sized Men. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
See you later, guys.